Hi guys, have you heard of this guy called, it's the guy that wants to rejuvenate, get younger, so to speak. Um, guy, I'm Googling, guy who is 40 and wants to live very long. Let's just Google that. What's his name again? It is, I could have looked it up before doing the video, but I'm purposefully just improvising because this is my moment of the day that I can kind of just do whatever I want, say whatever I want. And if I have something like prepared, because also I want to talk about this later, but I like will have to, not that I will have to, but probably I should reconsider the format of my videos at some point, because just the light coming from the side like this, like during day it's much better because I have daylight, and so you can see me more clearly, and like this it doesn't really make a good video. It doesn't really make a good video, but I'm still making it now. He's big on YouTube. My search didn't turn in to, or it wasn't fructif. Fructif, ça porte ses fruits. So fructif means that fruit is like fruits, and so it's not like how productive. Yeah, I'm not being productive at all, by the way. Johnson, something like that. Johnson live forever. I am still on Google, but I know he's big on. Now I found him. The man who thinks he can live forever. Brian Johnson, exactly. This guy. Now, this guy, he probably is doing things right, you know. Like I'm not here to like critique what he's doing exactly. I don't know what he's doing exactly with his diets, if and other just like aspects of his lifestyle. I think he's vegan. I think he doesn't eat much. He trains a lot, and well, he's kind of an inspiration. I cannot lie, but at the same time, I think that so I'm not there to. I'm today. I don't want to criticize what he does. Like, let's say he would eat a certain amount. I'm not here to say he should eat more. He should eat this and that. Or I'm not here like today. I just want like to talk about this guy, Brian Johnson, from another like angle, and this angle is that we cannot live forever, obviously, and like, okay, maybe if you're religious, then you believe that there is an afterlife. Not in all religions maybe, but I think in most, if not all religions, you think that there is an afterlife or some form of reincarnation, or that your soul like goes, like it doesn't get lost, it just goes into like the sky, so to speak, or in hell. If you've been a bad guy, you know, boys, bad boys, what you gonna do, what you gonna do when they come for you? No, I think that in reality, life in general, like at large, is very unfair. It's very unfair, and also like the level of competitiveness in nature is like between species is so strong, and as humans we have like really taken over the world, and maybe we will take over space at some point with these crazy guys like Elon Musk and who else not. But okay, so about this guy Brian Johnson, so he okay, I can Google his age. Johnson Brian, I think he might be 40 now. He's looking very good for 40, there's no doubt. and he's probably in good health. I mean, he got his health checked and all. He is from 1977. So if he's from 1977, he is 37, 47. 47. Oh, okay, he's 47. Okay, look, I would have thought he's 40 and looks very young, but he's actually 47, so he looks even younger. And yeah, probably he's spreading a good message about taking care of yourself and getting checked by your doctor if you have access to that, if you are able to. But I like his approach. Like, okay, I was about to criticize him. I of course like the idea to optimize what we have, like our body and our like system, and to be able to perform. But I think that life is not all about that. It's not just about performance or being in the best shape possible, obviously, not all of the time. I mean, you could reach a very good shape, but then like you want to also have a sustainable approach, and his approach is like with the things he does, very sophisticated, advanced, expensive equipment, and like checkups by doctors. Okay, now I'm reading more than 50 pills a day. Yeah, so I read that in German. Mehr als 50 Pillen täglich. Okay, so I could look up what is what I said, fructif in English. So fructif means that, okay, so fructif, to make or become productive or fruitful. Oh, okay, there is even the word fruitful. Cool. Yeah, so that would be a fructif, fruitful, full. I don't know how to say like the end of this word, like how to pronounce it, like fruitful, because I think that my accent is still varying. It's not fixed because I'm not a native speaker, but I'm still an English speaker though. I still in my mind I kind of speak English, like kind of, but yeah, but it comes from, it's like a mix of French and German that I have kind of like that, and this is my the result is how I speak in English. It's like a mix of French and English. Like let's say the word waterfall, so in German it's Wasserfall, and then you have also cascade, so that's slightly different than a waterfall, but in French you say cascade. And so you see, you could like have two circles like that, and the intersection in the middle is kind of like English. So that one first circle is German, and that second circle is French, and in the middle you have English. That's like a Germanic language with lots of French, Latin origin vocabulary, and it's also a very flexible language that evolved a lot during the last centuries, while I think that, for example, Italian, but I'm just saying Italian because I've heard that it didn't evolve a lot. But yeah, so about this guy, Brian Johnson, so my critique to him is that he, like all of this, it doesn't seem very, in a way, he's like really putting a lot of pressure on himself to do all these things. But now I'm thinking that it might be because he divorced at some point. He divorced, him and his wife parted, and I think that she spoke against him in like court, and that he had to, he since he's a millionaire, I don't know. I think that he came out of it. He didn't have to pay the fine. He didn't have to, but it would have been like almost like millions, I guess. And he yeah. So I think he kind of escaped that. I think he also has children, but so yeah. So his wife like leaving him, or I don't know how it went, but like this relationship, and like the way that he is now, I think that it's kind of like a rebound and a way to cope. and like to cope after what he has been through, and he has really taken it like too far. But he probably also makes money like that, and now he gained a lot of fame like that. So maybe it's all also a facade. Maybe it's made up. Maybe he doesn't really do all these things. But I would bear with him. I would really bear with him that he's being honest. This guy Brian Johnson. But the burden of time passing. So the burden of time that always, it never stops. You know, time, it never stops, and you can never go back. Now, each second, each minute that passes, we all share, in my opinion, like, because we're all mortals. But not to remind ourselves that we're at least mortal on this physical earth is, I think, a mistake, because you are not facing life as you should. Now, how should you face life? I'm not here to tell you how you should go on about your life, but I'm just making a critique that I think that this guy really kind of like thinks he is going to live forever in a way, but this is like the burden of time passing, and everything that has a beginning has an end, and this has like everything that has a beginning, or anything that has an end. Okay, and this guy, I don't think he wants to accept that, and so this is from kind of like a philosophical point of view that I'm criticizing him, because, well, yeah, he really wants to get younger, and he does these like tests where his body age is much less than his real biological age. But I don't think so. This is like this is scientific. So this is like a scientific approach. What parameters, what variables, what do they include into the equation of him being very healthy or like not, and like how do they, what are the, so these are also man-made factors. Like if, let's say, they take blood pressure into account, and so this is like a variable, and so having too high of blood pressure is probably going to reduce your lifespan. No, if you have too low of blood pressure, you're probably kind of like suffering, because I think you can faint or something. I think you're not as productive as you could if you are if you have low blood pressure. I think it's still like less bad than if you have way too high blood pressure. But I'm not a doctor. I'm just a guy that likes to go to the gym once in a while. But my lifestyle is definitely not like, it's not good. It's basically not so good. But I'm not like here to compare, right? There is no comparison between me and this guy. We have 20 years of age difference. Now, the age difference is not what makes us uncomparable. Also him being a millionaire, but also him being like so famous, and also him like it's a very different life that we live. And I could not like, probably like almost no one could afford his lifestyle. But I'm criticizing him because he, okay, so we all as humans carry, in my opinion, the burden of time passing and never stopping. Each minute, each second that goes by, we get a bit older. Whether we want to accept it like consciously or not. Maybe you can just like drown that thought. Maybe you can kind of like hypnotize yourself into thinking that you're going to live forever, and that your lifestyle is so good that you have lowered your like anxiety about your like health in the future and so on. But I would say that this guy, so he we he lacks humbleness in that sense, that he probably doesn't want to, I'm making assumptions also, but he probably doesn't want to like accept that we are in the face of death, like in the face of death, we're all gonna, like, we're all the same. We're all the same. We're all mortals. And so maybe he can increase his lifespan. I would really wish it for him and to anyone, basically. But um, there's something wrong and off. Obviously, he got also lots of critique on the internet, and I saw that, and well, he has to have also a strong psyche, but I think that he went through a lot, and him taking his health to such an extreme, like the controlled aspect of taking your health into, because he's not just going for walks and being vegan and trying to meditate or something. No, he is trying to optimize every single factor, like 24/7, every component, every little element in your life. Now, I think that going about it this way is, like, at least for me, it would put a lot of pressure on me, to the point where the stress would be more unhealthy than anything else at this point. And but okay, let's assume that he's able to deal with the stress of, like, having, there's, I think, orthorexia. So there's ortho, so it means kind of like straight, and then rexia, it's kind of like not a mental illness, but it's like a trouble, you would say in French, a trouble. Yeah, it's like a trouble, basically. It's something that you have that you wouldn't want to have. And but so yeah, maybe he also is like, okay, so first thing I read on Wikipedia is that he is an American entrepreneur. This is the first, like, word that comes up. He is, what is he, like, in this society, in this, like, economy and so on. He is an entrepreneur, and he is probably making a lot of money, and he is the founder and former CEO of Colonel. Okay, but now, okay, so the former, so he retired apparently. I don't know what he does now, but he's probably still an American entrepreneur, right? But okay, now I'm reading that he's even taking 100 pills a day. But not, these articles, they don't really make sense. Like, 100 pills a day. What does this mean? It could mean anything, and so it means nothing. Yeah, but okay. So he's supplementing a lot, and he's really living that, like, lifestyle, or the idea of living forever. And in my opinion, he's not accepting the burden, and like like, I'm reading, until I was 40, I kind of destroyed my skin. Sunburns, poor diet, no skin. Okay, fair. Okay, good. Well, not getting sunburned and so on. Okay, why not? Okay. But I think that you got my point. It's just that this guy is, like, come on, man. Like, we're all gonna die. We're all gonna die. And okay, maybe he just wants to live as long as humanly possible, But, like, we're humans, so, like, I hope that this guy isn't thinking, like, of himself. That I think that I hope for him that he's, like, conscious and, like, healthy mentally, because his lifestyle is really extreme. It's really, really extreme, and I think that he doesn't want to accept that time is passing always. It never stops, and it can feel like a burden. So that might be an error of mine. Now that I'm saying it, maybe a mistake, like a thought error, like that I'm thinking that living forever, like this idea of, like, wanting to live very long, So people could argue probably that it's a modern thing, but even back in the days, I've heard that like kings and stuff, they wanted to like look young, and so that's maybe always been a thing. That's maybe always been a thing. But so maybe he just wants to live as long as humanly possible. So that's cool. But if he wants to live forever, and if he wants to get younger, now that's not possible. You're never getting younger. Like there is no single person on earth that like tomorrow isn't going to be 1 day older. Tomorrow I'm going to be 1 day older, no matter what. Except if I die, which I'm probably not going to. Hopefully. And if so, like so be it. Like, God's plan. Yeah, we are definitely mortals on this earth, and maybe there is an afterlife. So this is dependent on your personal beliefs, religious and so on, spiritual and so on, but not accepting or like being okay with the idea of time passing. I think that this guy, he's like coping. So he's mostly like coping. So but coping as a reaction against or of a result of stress. Right. So he went through a lot, and now he's coping, and he's maybe coping very well. I'm not taking that off of him, but yeah. So now I've googled Brian Johnson, like Johnson Brian 40, because all of this is unprepared. This whole video is unprepared. This is my moment of the day where I can kind of like freely talk, because the rest of the time I have to follow certain rules and guidelines for the things I do, and I have to like stay in my lane. And right now I can like deviate and say whatever I want, and then publish it on YouTube. Like if I'm going to do that with this video, like if you've been listening until now, you will know. Wink. But others like probably, if anyone would listen until, probably some would. But I have a few good followers, like very nice people that reach out to me, and anyways, I think that he's not accepting the burden. But okay, so when I say burden, so maybe I'm also not accepting the burden of time passing and so on, and the weight on the that we like, all of us, we share that. It's time passing, getting older, we all share this. Like all living species on earth, we share that. Everything that has a beginning, that starts to live, has an end. And there might be an afterlife, a reincarnation, or nothing. Who knows? But I think that like being like on this earth, like living right now, 47 isn't even that old. That's also another like caveat like to it. It's like that. It's 47? Yeah, but you're not being that old. I know lots of like 40. I see lots of 45, probably 50. Or even my dad, 61. He's fit. He's definitely fit. He's in shape for his age, and he's always like done sports and so on. Yeah. So Brian Johnson, this guy, I wish him all the best. I think that like he's probably doing things right, but I hope that he is not out of touch with reality too much, and that he doesn't think that he can kind of escape the burden of time passing, and that's like weighing on all of us. And I hope that he's not thinking that maybe he's really immortal, which I think that in some like mental illnesses, like psychosis, like probably some people could think that, they could probably believe that, because it's also difficult to accept and to really like, you cannot really think or imagine how it would be to be dead. Maybe it's like being asleep, or it's like being unconscious. It's just like you're just not conscious, so it's just like nothing. Also, like the world as we perceive it, if we didn't exist as humans, in a philosophical way, if you think about it in a very weird kind of way, and you do this mental gymnastic of thinking that okay, about dying and imagining how it would be to be dead and not being conscious, so and so on. And so if there would be no one on earth and there would be no life, in a way the world wouldn't exist. What do I mean by that? The world as we imagine it as humans, we have this concept of it, and we have language to communicate about it and to imagine all of that. And so this is how we use our brains very powerfully as humans. That's our strongest tool, so to speak, in our arsenal as like humans. Because yeah, in like the animal kingdom, other animals would definitely they would out and like perform us, and like in different things, like the strength, the speed, probably lots of different ability to like see in the night, ability to maybe sense certain things, or like communicating through water, like kind of like whales. I think there are like dolphins, they can do that, I think. Communicating without spoken language, and they have other like vibrations, because also like speaking like vibrations in the air. And man-made words that I'm throwing at you in this video. And yeah, so the thing is, Brian Johnson, you're not going to live forever. You're not getting younger. You're never getting younger. What else? Well, otherwise, like, props to him, like respect. I also have to say I'm impressed, like respect to this guy. It's very that's very impressive. That's very impressive. And also the way he's putting himself out there, making himself vulnerable, having all kinds of people commenting on him, criticizing him, as I am doing now, basically. And I'm not legitimate, but like I'm not legit or legitimate, or legit. Is it the same? Maybe legit is just like the short version. It's like trunk. It's like a truncation or something like that. Okay, because in French we'll say tronquer. So tronquer would mean like a video. If you would like cut it, you tronquer. So like truncation, you know. Yeah, a lot of French vocabulary has gone into the English language, obviously, but I've heard different like percentages, 80%. But what does it even mean? Like, what do you mean by 80%? You would have to elaborate. Like, what do you take into account to say that? Like, what do you mean by 80% of vocabulary stems from French? What do you mean by or French Latin? So maybe it's not 80, maybe it's 79, maybe it's 60 even, maybe it's 40, who knows? But there are definitely lots of French influences in English. And so I will also do like a paper on this, because I'm studying English, and so the way I talk now and so on, it's definitely not academic, and it's not so elaborate. Like, it's not meant to be. This video is not meant to be like that. This video is just me like coming home after my day, and like trying to like have this free flow of speech going on that feels good, and also activates certain things in my mind. It makes me point out certain things that maybe myself I don't accept the burden of time and seeing other people getting older. So you don't have to make all this about like yourself, like also seeing other people getting older, such as your parents and so on, or like friends that really like change, and you don't recognize them, so to speak. So I'm the type of guy to always like pop up even like years later as if nothing had happened, like to pop out of the blue and to randomly hit on people that I am friends with. Like I'm still friend. I was about to say that I used to be friends with, but I don't like that view of friendships. I think that in a way, if I am like if I befriend someone, if someone's my friend in a way, I will always at least have a little, at least keep a little like box in my heart of that person. But then maybe that person can like change over time, and maybe then we don't click at some point. Maybe we have other interests, other opinions, other lifestyles, other life circumstances, and just like anything, anything could happen. But there are also a lot of stuff that just cannot happen. So this is also my problem with all these motivational speakers, that you can do anything and so on. But once you use your logic and the logical part of your brain, and you're doing this like scientifically, so to speak, like an academic approach, well, every single day that passes, our cells, like, they multiply themselves, and so they die, and so there's a certain amount of like the things that going on, like, you're always, and it never stops. We're not like dead tissue. We're not like, and we're not like a car that you could theoretically always tune and always change the parts and so on. We are living organisms. And so we're not just some robot that can get fixed, or that has to have all like the variables right to be able to run and make no mistakes, because by definition we are biased now. Okay, AI is also biased, and computers, and like I'm not that good, and I don't know that much about like informatics. But I wonder if you say informatics in plural. Yeah, probably you'll. Well, yeah. Okay, so informatics. I'm not an expert. You can see from my YouTube videos that I'm not even doing any kind of special effects, or I would like to add some of that. But also, my videos are not meant to be like that. I'm not here trying to record some epic kind of like movie or story. It is not how it's meant to be. It's just literally meant to be me coming home, putting my phone on my tripod, and start talking about anything, basically. So this guy, Brian Johnson, I think he's a very good guy. I think he probably suffered a lot, and now he's coping. And so maybe he's coping very well, but he's still coping. And I would want, I wish him that he, I don't know, if he's pressuring himself to the point of having so much stress, then it's going to be counterproductive. Contre-productif. C'est counterproductif. You know, I can also speak with the French accent all day. No, I couldn't, because all day I would get crazy. But I can imitate or simulate the French accent very well, because in a way, this is also how I would normally talk in French. What do I mean by that? If I now turn off my like English speaking brain, and I imagine I am Florian de France, then all of a sudden I will like say the words in such a way that I could. But then it's not just like that. But for me, to me at least, having grown up bilingual and speaking 3 languages, and having a bit of like basic knowledge about Spanish, like so I'm speaking 3, and I have like a 4th one that is like, and also like kind of speaking English. It's like, you know, kinda, like, gotcha, yeah, mean, you know. So this kind of English, and you know, like yeah, jargon. This isn't jargon, but yeah. So you can see how I am drifting around. So jargon, or technical language, is a specialized terminology associated with a particular field or an area or activity. What jargon is what is it? Special words or expressions used by a profession or group that has a difficult or that are difficult for others to understand. Okay, so jargon is a special word or expression. So it may be in dialects there is jargon. Let's put it this way. So jargon is a thing within dialects probably. So there is an example: archaic, a form of language regarded as barbarous, debased, or hybrid. Okay, so yeah, okay, I can see why they're like linking that to the language being barbarous if you have like jargon, but no, I don't think you can say that it's a lack of of not being civilized enough. I don't think that's the point. I don't think that people who speak jargon are uncivilized. That's not how it is. There are like very educated, smart people that speak jargon probably, and that have dialects and non-standardized versions of like speech and like ways of communicating. You get my point. I don't want to hate on anyone, especially not this guy Brian Johnson. I would literally want to hate on no one, and I'm not hating on Brian Johnson, right? Don't get me wrong, but I think his approach is like kind of taken too far, and well, he's like coping now. Aren't we all kind of coping, like in a certain way? But at the same time, no, we're not all coping. Like some people, like this is like in a way. So I'm not like a psychologist, right? But like probably in a way we all cope, but probably in another way you can observe people that wow, they really are coping. There's really a phenomenon called coping. Coping for stress or negative events, trauma that has happened to you, and so trying to deal with that, to heal, not healing like not even healing like a wound or like getting fixed like a car, like healing in a spiritual, psychological sense. And well, if he is like kind of hurt like that, well, I would wish him to heal. But 47 isn't that old. It isn't that old. So that's another point of mine, is that, well, he's not that old. He's not that old. 47 is not even that old. Add 35 years to that. Add 35 years to that. And we have 47 plus 5, 52 plus 30, we have 82. Now let's see how he's doing at 82. And if he's still meeting friends, going out, I mean, not going out like partying, right? But like being active and so on. Then it would be really impressive, because I don't want to take anything away from him, but he is just 47, right? Like he's not like I like usually even like politicians, like political people and so on, get all elected or like get into their positions very late in life. Sometimes you can see that, like Donald Trump, what is his age? Is like Donald age, I will just Google, 78. See, 78. Yeah, so he has 4 years ahead of him until he's 82, and he's going to be like president during these 4 years. And yeah, that's exactly what. So 47. So you take Brian Johnson and you add 35 years, and you have basically the age of Donald Trump when he's going to be at the end of his career. So I wish him luck, but I think that there are much more impressive just things though, and that he's also in a like spiritual, philosophical way, he's kind of wrong, but just kind of, because I don't want to argue that taking care of yourself and your health is not good. I don't want to argue that, obviously. But just the extreme, the extreme, and the fact that he has taken it so far, and this is kind of worrying. So he also has kind of like a, I think there is some not worrying but so he gives me some worried kind of vibes. Not also not worried, but he probably has worried a lot in his life, and well, that also drips off of him. He is also marqué par la vie, marqué, marked. Like if you don't want to accept that, life has left marks on you, basically. Like Brian Johnson doesn't want to accept, well, then you're chasing after some like illusion of grandeur at this point. And this is very like, this is mental illness, basically. Illusions of grandeur. Illusions of grandeur. You know, that's how I would like to finish this video, 40 plus minutes. So illusions of grandeur. So this is like, grandeur means greatness. And this is basically Brian Johnson, yeah, about his age and like his lifestyle and the way he's like approaching all this. It's like illusions of grandeur, but they're dangerous, these illusions, because they can make you suffer a lot. They can really make you suffer a lot on a spiritual level, and we don't want that, right? We want to, okay, no pain, no gain, though. No pain, no gain. Like even pain is necessary and can be good, like in certain contexts and in certain ways and so on. But yeah, no pain, no gain. You could also argue against that because like no pain, no gain. At some point, if you put yourself or you expose yourself to so much pain that you will not be able to tolerate it, then like you're destroying yourself, kind of like masochism. This would be like a masochist's approach, right? And Brian Johnson is obviously not a masochist, because otherwise he wouldn't take care of himself like that and do all these like good things. I mean, his intention of inspiring others too, it comes from a good place. I think he comes from a good place, but I would still, I cannot completely buy this story, this guy's like story, kind of, because first of all, so it's written, so okay, this was in 2023. He was 46 apparently. So article Time magazine, who has spent most of the last 3 years in pursuit of a singular goal. Don't die. Yeah, don't die. Okay, so he's 46 and he has the singular goal of not dying, and he has done this for 3 years now, the last 3 years. Now let's multiply this by 10 and let's see how he's doing then. Like 30 years. Like I would like to see him again in 35 years, you know. Yeah. Okay, guys, so let's not fall into illusions of grandeur, and let's try to remain humble, and like to remind ourselves that we're also mortal. So with this realization or acceptance, I think that we can move forward in life and move forward. Like life is also about motion, you know. Yeah. Okay, guys. Yeah, so 43, almost 44 minutes. I've never done a video this long, and I'm going to snap out of it now. I'm going to stop it, and peace out, guys. I wish you all the best.